Indie studios are a dime a dozen these days, in a market filled with countless studios creating countless games for every genre under the sun. There was one studio that dreamt to be bigger. It wanted to try to beat out not only other indie studios, but AAA studios as well. A studio that for the past decade has released hit after hit and has shown no signs of stopping anytime soon. That studio is Hello Games. Hello Games is an indie studio based in Guildford, England that has been around for over a decade. The studio initially started out with 4 founding members. These members were Sean Murray, Grant Duncan, Ryan Doyle, and David Ream. These men were 4 friends who decided to quit their jobs at their respective studios and start an indie studio. Murray, Duncan, Doyle, and Ream still work at Hello Games to this day. After over a year of development, their first game hit the market, that game being the critically acclaimed Joe Danger. Joe Danger is an arcade-style, side-scrolling motorcycle racing game in a similar vein to Excitebike, which was released on the PlayStation Network on June 8th, 2010. Joe Danger would soon find commercial success on the platform due to its uniqueness compared to other games on the market at the time. Murray has stated previously that he not only quit his job at EA in favour of setting up Hello Games, he also sold his home in order to help pay for the development of Joe Danger, which proves that Hello Games were confident enough in themselves to go all in on a gamble like this. The game would be released on Xbox 360 1 year later under the title Joe Danger Special Edition, due to it having extra content compared to the base version found on the PlayStation 3. After this, a sequel to Joe Danger called Joe Danger 2 The Movie was greenlit and would be shown off at Gamescom 2011. Joe Danger 2 The Movie would be released 1 year later in 2011 on both Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. In the following years, Joe Danger and its sequel Joe Danger 2 would find their way to PlayStation Vita and PC. Alongside Joe Danger and Joe Danger 2, Hello Games would release 2 Joe Danger mobile games. The first of these was named Joe Danger Touch and was released in 2013 for iOS devices. The second, named Joe Danger Infinity, would be released 1 year later in 2014 for iOS devices. Joe Danger Touch would be re-released for Android, Amazon App Store and Ouya in 2015, and would be renamed to simply Joe Danger on all platforms, including iOS. The entirety of the Joe Danger series was released solely through digital distribution. Joe Danger and Joe Danger 2 The Movie, which were released on consoles and PC, would cost around £10 to buy and play. The games that were released on Android, iOS, Amazon App Store, and Ouya would be cheaper to buy, averaging about £2, but would contain microtransactions in order to speed up game progression. During the development of the Joe Danger series, one of Hello Games' founding members, Sean Murray, had to stay late in the office to have a phone call with Microsoft regarding Joe Danger 2. During the time he waited for this call, he tinkered around with some code, just concepting, and eventually created a demo that allowed you to go between planets created entirely of voxels. Murray credited this to being the beginning of No Man's Sky, the studio's most successful and yet most infamous game. No Man's Sky was officially announced in 2013 and would be shown off the next year at E3 2014. According to Murray, who acted as the spokesperson of No Man's Sky, he wanted to create a game where you could go anywhere and do anything. Unlike previous games released by Hello Games, No Man's Sky would be the first to be released physically as well as digitally. No Man's Sky is an open-world sci-fi game that highly emphasizes exploration. The thing that made No Man's Sky special, in comparison to that which had come before it, was in its world generation. Unlike most open-world games, No Man's Sky uses procedural generation to create every planet in its universe. This means that every planet that the player encounters is created using a generation algorithm, rather than being handcrafted, which results in every planet being unique. No Man's Sky was incredibly hyped from the time of its announcement up to its subsequent release in 2016. This was not only due to its marketing, but also due to the amount of features promised by Hello Games, such as online co-op, in which players could meet each other on different planets, providing they can both navigate to the same planet. After a long wait and much anticipation, No Man's Sky was released on PC and PlayStation 4 for £40 in 2016, to a very negative response. A lot of the content that players thought they had been promised over the years was missing at launch. The biggest of these was online co-op. During the build-up to the release of No Man's Sky, Sean Murray would occasionally do interviews with the press, and during these interviews would be asked if certain elements such as multiplayer would be included in the game. Murray was always excited to talk about the game, and would usually respond with yes to these questions, even if they were not planned to be implemented.
Can you run into other people, other players on the game?
Yes, but the chances of that are incredibly rare, just because of the size of what we're building.
Wow.
This resulted in player expectations for content in No Man's Sky being a lot higher than was initially available at launch. After the initial backlash of No Man's Sky, Hello Games started taking a bunker-down approach to development. Sean Murray routed all of the feedback for the game to his email and went through every single bit of it. He combed through all of the responses to find those from people who had actually played the game and used their feedback when deciding what should take priority when making changes to the game and implementing new features.
So at first, the intensity of that feedback was overwhelming. But I decided you either had to hide or you had to face it. So I did something that I wouldn't recommend, but I decided to kind of drink from the fire hose, right? Every mail that you send to Hello Games goes directly to my phone and to my watch, right? We didn't block or mute people. If you talked about No Man's Sky, then I probably read it.
Hello Games went dark on social media for a number of months, ignoring all of the negative media and backlash on sites like Twitter, and worked on No Man's Sky constantly for months on end. Around this time, Hello Games decided to cut itself off from the press and only communicate to the player base through the patch notes of No Man's Sky. After several months, the first patch was released. This fixed a lot of the issues the game had seen at launch and added some of the previously promised content that was missing at launch. They will continue this cycle of adding content and fixing bugs over the coming months and years to this day, when everything that was promised before launch has been added and has now been expanded upon heavily. No Man's Sky has used the games as a service philosophy when it comes to adding content. This means that every piece of new content added to the game since launch has come at no extra cost to the player. Everything has been given in the form of free updates, rather than locking new content behind paid downloadable content, which has helped improve Hello Games' reputation to the public even more. Since 2016, No Man's Sky has been ported to the Xbox One and is currently included in the Xbox Game Pass. Alongside this, virtual reality support was added to the game for both PC and PlayStation 4, adding an entirely new layer of depth to the gameplay of No Man's Sky. To this day, No Man's Sky averages around 8,000 concurrent players on a regular month, but on the months when a big patch is released, that average can be over 20,000. This places No Man's Sky in the top 100 games according to Steam charts, beating out games like Skyrim and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. After the eventual success of No Man's Sky, Hello Games would announce its next game at the Game Awards in 2018, titled The Last Campfire, a puzzle game similar in gameplay to the old Legend of Zelda games without the combat elements. The game was reportedly created by only 3 members of Hello Games and was released in August 2020 for PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, iOS and PC on the Epic Games Store, with a Steam version slated for a 2021 release. In the last year, Hello Games has once again started talking to the press in a limited fashion, occasionally taking part in interviews such as a Polygon article, or attending conferences such as the Game Developers Conference. Although only just over a decade ago, Hello Games boasted 4 core members It has since expanded to having 26 employees as of September 2020, according to the Polygon article I previously mentioned. However, according to Hello Games' very own LinkedIn page, this number has since increased to 36 since then. This could be the result of an unannounced project which is said to be in development according to Hello Games' very own website. According to that very same LinkedIn page, Hello Games has a wide variety of job roles, from commonly talked about positions such as programmer and artist, but then also has less talked about positions such as head of publishing and chief operations officer. According to their website, they are currently hiring new talent, specifically an experienced programmer, a graduate or junior programmer, a graphics or engine programmer, a Chinese-speaking QA tester, an experienced artist, a junior artist, and a VFX artist, all of these being permanent positions in the studio. Hello Games are seemingly very open to hiring new talent. As stated on their website, our team is everything, so if you think you fit, then we are always hiring. This seemingly means that providing you get along with everybody else on the team and have something to provide the team, there is a place for you. Hello Games is in an extremely unique position in the games industry. Due to the commercial success of No Man's Sky, Hello Games is able to give its staff the stability and the benefits of a AAA studio, whilst being able to give its staff the freedom of an indie studio. This is something explicitly stated on the Hello Games About page in the quote, "The success of No Man's Sky has given us a nice office and a whole bunch more freedom to expand creatively. These days, we try to join the stability and the quality of a AAA development with the freedom and creativity of an independent studio. Personally, I find this incredibly interesting as a creative myself. It really is a dream when you think about it, being able to have financial stability while still being able to tinker with ideas and concepts. Personally, I am somebody that always comes up with rather strange and experimental ideas, and to have a job that would support that I think would be very beneficial to me. Hello Games is a studio that wants anybody and everybody to experience their games. They produce easily accessible titles in varying genres in order to accommodate everybody's tastes in games. Additionally, every game released by Hello Games has had a PEGI rating of 7 or lower, which really enforces the idea that Hello Games wants to produce games that anyone can enjoy. Although some people may want to link Hello Games' success solely to their accessibility and variety in games, a bigger part of it can be linked to the studio's financing and the initial gamble that Sean Murray made during the creation of Joe Danger. From the get-go, Hello Games has funded itself entirely out of pocket. This means that they rely solely on themselves for funding. In order to fulfill this, Sean Murray sold his home in order to fund Joe Danger to completion, and lucky for him, the gamble paid off. Joe Danger was a success, and this was a trend Hello Games will continue for the next decade, funding out of pocket for all of their subsequent titles. Another contributing factor to the success of Hello Games is the art style Hello Games uses in each of their games, or more specifically, the colour palette used for each of their games. Every game is colourful and vibrant. Even the darkest of their games, The Last Campfire, uses an array of vibrant colours in its world. Additionally, in each of Hello Games' releases, their art style is incredibly cartoony, and almost appears to be cel-shaded at points. This allows their colourful worlds to appear even more vibrant. I believe that this was an important factor in the success of No Man's Sky in particular, as it helped the game stand out when compared to other sci-fi games at the time, which opted for a more realistic and gritty art style in comparison. Over the last decade, Hello Games has managed to go from humble beginnings to being one of the most hated and eventually most beloved indie studios in the world today. By making countless mistakes along the way, they have managed to become the blueprint for not only what not to do when communicating with the press, but also how to come back from defeat by redeeming themselves in not only the eyes of the public, but also the eyes of the media as well. I wholeheartedly believe that no matter who you are, anybody can learn something from the successes and failures of Hello Games. Whether you are a single person or a giant company, you don't even have to be part of the games industry to learn something important from them. Their history, although short, has had many ups and downs, and how they have coped with and overcome those downs by transforming them into ups through nothing more than dedication is something we can all learn from.